Hi folks, it's RBB. I'm going to show you today how to render something out of After Effects. Now keep in mind that all these videos are for people who are really brand new to After Effects and maybe just don't know how to do this at all. So if you know what you're doing and you know what kind of setup you're being asked for, this really isn't for you, right? This is for people who are brand new and want to output whatever it is that they've made in After Effects. So I made this quick little composition called How to Render, and it's just a couple of words. So hello world, and this little red thing comes in. It's important to know how to render out your fabulous film. Join the queue, okay? Fade to black, everything's great. So I've watched through and make sure there's no mistakes. It's great, it's lovely, it's Academy Award winning film. It is 12 seconds long and I'm ready to go. I'm being asked to turn this in. So a lot of my students, the assignments that I'm asking for, they're asked to turn in an MP4. Now an MP4 is a nice small compressed film that is easy to see in almost any format. So it's like the JPEG of movies. You might be asked for an image sequence or something else, but first we're going to look at just how to make a simple MP4. So when I'm done with this and I'm ready for it to render, which is, make the film, get it out of here. Under composition, you can click on add to render queue about here in the middle, or there's a hotkey, Control M. So if you're keeping up with hotkeys and you like hotkeys, Control M. If not, it's just common sense. What are we doing? We want to do something to the composition. We're adding to render queue. Now queue is just fancy for get in line, right? Join the queue. And if I have other jobs, so I've rendered things in the past, and here's other things that are already completed. So I am next in the queue. I'm next in line. So I like to check all three of these settings. I've got render settings, I've got output module, and I've got output 2. You don't have to check them all, but as a habit, I do. I check them all to make sure they're all right. The first one, render settings. Okay, we definitely want to check our render settings. By default, it's going to be on best, it's going to be on full. Mine is set to 1920 by 1080 and 24 frames per second because that's how I set up my composition. Now, if I was working on something really heavy like particles or a lot of visual effects or something, I might have been working at a lower resolution to keep it from lagging. But now that I'm ready to render it, I want to make sure that I'm at best quality and full resolution. Okay, 1920 by 1080. My composition setting is 24. All this stuff, I'm going to leave it the same and say OK. The second option here, output module, this is what are you being asked to turn in? What do you need? So an H.264 is the compression format that's going to make an MP4. All right, so I know that a lot of people find this really confusing. I'll have in my assignment, render this as an H.264, and they panic and say, I'm trying to render as an H.264, but it keeps saving as an MP4. An MP4 is the file type, like an MOV or an AVI. The H.264 is the compression, right? It's the way the video is being made. So a QuickTime video, an MOV, an AVI, those are the output. But all of these things here, an MP3, a WAV file, they're the compression that's being used to make this. So an H.264 is going to result in an MP4. Okay, this is great because it's just a nice small compressed video. If I'm being asked to turn in an image sequence, we're going to come back to this and see how to do an image sequence. But for right now, we're just going to leave it on H.264. I don't need to change anything else. I see it's at RGB. This is more complex, and I don't need to worry about that because that's not what this video is about. And if this had sound, because I'm making a video, it's automatically going to pick up any sound in my video. Now, I don't have any sound, so that's fine. It's automatically not going to pick it up. But it's here, and it would record the sound if we had it. And I say, OK. The last thing to check here is output 2. Where do you want this to save? So I have a folder here somewhere. Where did it go? It's on it should be on my desktop. Render queue. All right, so I have this folder here called Render Queue Images. And my composition is called How to Render. So it's going to save it as an H.264, which is going to make an MP4. And I say save. Now that's not doing anything. And sometimes people panic here because they're like, I did the render queue, I did everything you said, I saved it, and there's no video because I haven't actually told it to render. I need to come over here, right here to the right-hand side and click the render button. Now this won't take very long because it's pretty light. There's not a lot going on. It's probably going to take about 8 seconds or so. Let's see. Look at that, 8 seconds, boom. So that bring, that's a great noise. That tells you that it's done. And we can check and see here on my desktop in my folder called Render Queue Images, here's my video. And I can play it with my favorite VLC. If VLC can't open it, nothing can open it. This is like the most forgiving video player. So there we go. Oop, I guess some of my grammar is wrong, but that's okay. All right, so that works. That's great. I'm ready to turn that in if that's my assignment, is to turn in a video. Let's say back in After Effects here that I'm going to take this into some kind of compositing software like Nuke, and I need it to be an image sequence. Some editing programs like Nuke really prefer image sequences to a movie. It wants individual frames as opposed to one object like a movie. So the same thing, composition or Control M, add to render queue. And I haven't made any changes. So in my render queue here, I know that I haven't made any changes as far as resolution or anything, but again, I'm always in the habit of checking. Best quality, full resolution, everything's great, 24. I know I didn't change anything. Now, output module. Last time I did the H.264 to make that quick MP4 movie, but this time I'm being asked to turn in, say, a PNG sequence. Now that's going to turn in individual frames with transparency because a PNG has transparency, right? So if I say PNG sequence, it's going to render each of the frames, okay, one at a time for my entire length of my composition, which is about 288 frames, okay? And notice that the audio is grayed out because this is like a flip book. This is individual pictures. They don't have sound, right? It's just individual images. So, okay, that's great. So I've checked that. I've checked the PNG sequence. I've told it where to go. Okay, now this is kind of nice. It's going to be called how to render, right? And then I see this little parentheses here with a bunch of numbers, .png. It automatically adds the frame padding, which is the 0001, 0002, 0003, so that you don't roll over and write over things. That's what happened in Y2K, right? When we went from the year 99 to the year 2000, everybody was going to freak out and think that that all the computers were going to think it was 1900. When you've got a large frame padding like 0001, you have 9,999 frames before it rolls over. I think that's probably plenty. Okay, don't forget to say render. This is going to take a little bit longer because it's actually rendering out each individual image, including the transparency. So we're going to zip right past our like 8 seconds and probably go to, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds or so. It's taking a little longer, but we really want to hear that little bring at the end. If not, if it doesn't work, you hear this awful goat noise. Not even kidding. It's terrible. So this should be done in literally about a second. Yes. Awesome sauce. All right. Now here's what's cool. I'm going to minimize After Effects here. Here's one thing I would do, though, before I render, just in case when I'm done my composition and I feel like I'm done and I'm ready to render, just in case anything goes wrong, I'm going to go ahead and increment and save. So save as, and copy. So how to render Q2 or how to render Q3. If I made some changes, I would save it again, how to render Q4, and then add to the render queue. I didn't do that this time. It's okay. All right, so here we go. Here's my video that I showed you, right? There's my MP4. And all of those image sequence went into a folder that After Effects automatically made for me, which is nice because in things like Maya and some other programs, it'll put them in a folder, but it puts all of the files in a folder. So if I've got 3 or 4 scenes going on, all of those files are just in the same folder. So here we go. Here's my how to render with 0005. Got a nice frame padding there all the way down to what, about 288 or so, 287. That was close. Individual PNGs that are now ready to take into my editing software. Now you may say, isn't After Effects an editing software? It is, but there's of course, better compositing softwares and things like Nuke. So that's it. Mostly it's important to consider what is it that you're being asked to turn in? What is it you're being asked to do? Are you being asked for a render, an image sequence? What kind of image? Is a JPEG fine? Does it need to be a Target? Does it need to be a PNG? Find out what it is you're being asked to turn in. If you want something nice and small that you can share and put on your website, an MP4 is great. Don't forget to save. Okay, and don't forget to hit the render cue. Hopefully that's helpful. I'll see you guys next time. Be well.